they were recognized as a human beings. And even in the 90s, they got recently, it's not even up to 50 years, they were allowed to participate in the political process here in Australia. So they're fighting for their self-determination. They're fighting for more political inclusion. Our own, we're now fighting for political inclusion. And I keep saying this. Anybody that's telling you go and vote, that when you put a different person, someone who resembles you, speaks your language, Nigeria is there will be a radical change in Nigeria. You are being deceived. You don't want a change of face, a change of somebody from another political party. You don't want all that. What do you want? Outright freedom, outright pulling out of this whole mess. We are fighting for self-determination, breaking away from the shackle that has held us over 62 years. We want to break away from that. We want to be able to break away from that. And the last thing I want to say before I pass the microphone on to my colleagues is to appeal to Biafrans who are engaging in academic activities. You never underestimate the position you occupy in this struggle. You may not be a member of IPOB, but you are a Biafran. You are preparing academic research. You want to write thesis, you want to do research, write a project about development, especially those of us that are not living in Biafra land, that are living in countries where you have the freedom to explore, to study whatever you want to study, and to apply your knowledge in an existential context, maybe in the context of your knowledge, struggle of your people. I'm appealing to your conscience today. Make your project a project that will be beneficial to Biafra as we are still struggling and when eventually we are free. If your research is about environment, you're an environmental scientist and you're writing a doctoral thesis about, you want to write a doctoral thesis, so you're making a doctoral research about environment, improving environment, so on, whatever that is. Make your case study Biafra, improving the environment. Put that word Biafra. That is the way, and I will tell you why it is very powerful. 50 years ago, I mean, even 20 years ago, something like same-sex marriage was no-go area. But the left, the politically left wing, kept on pushing. You know what they did? They took over the whole system of Europe. It becomes, most of the education system I'm talking about, most of the universities have a very strong, deep-seated politically left ideologies. So the system of government, of the institution, the curriculum, they were able to manipulate the curriculum so that when they were successful at getting intellectuals, academics, talking about their struggle, what happened? Suddenly Europe wake up and everywhere is same-sex marriage. Now, I'm not praising that, but I'm giving you that as a recent development about how what you are passionate about, you can go about it. You might have the key to solving your problem. Why are you sitting and waiting for other people to say, now you can go, you have freedom? When you have your pen and you're thinking about academic project you can do, write about Biafra. Push it into academic world. That's what I'm saying. Like these guys did. That today you live in their place, you may not agree with same-sex, but you have to respect that. You think they wake up, Europe wake up one day and everybody says, oh man, anybody can marry anybody. And as I know, even currently, They are pushing for people to marry animals. They are also pushing for adults to marry kids, so that eventually there is nothing like pedophilia. You see, as much as you hate that because it's immoral and because it is not consistent with our values of as Africans, and that's what I believe. It's not consistent with who we are, who we stand with. But what are you gonna do? They are already pushing. I'm sharing this because I want to give us the strategy. We have to be strategically engaging in our struggle. We must push for it. And the best way to push for it is to push for it through what you're doing and where you are. Those of us in the academia must push for Biafra. If your research is about engineering, I don't know what kind of engineering, use a case study in Biafra. Put that word Biafra. If we have papers citing Biafra as a case study, what that means is we have master research thesis with Biafra as a case study. We have doctoral research thesis, a lot of them in engineering, in political science, in whatever field, social science, arts, philosophy, all those things, biology. And we always citing Biafra as a case study. What's going to happen? Very soon, when people start typing, anything you type about a paper, you want to find something about environmentalism in Africa, your paper will come out. And somebody in Ukraine is typing about looking at environmentalism in Africa, and there's a paper written here about environmental destruction of this in Biafra. In Darism, you are telling the world that you are conscious of who you are, number one, and you are in support of your people's campaign to be free, and that Biafra is not dead. If you remain silent and you stop talking about Biafra, waiting only for Ipob and then Nnamdi Kanu to talk about Biafra on Radio Biafra, that's not how to fight a freedom. I've given you a case of those fighting for same-sex, and now they're fighting for pedophilia. As much as crazy as that sounds to you, in 20 years, our kids will be saying, oh, that's normal. That's normal. But what makes it normal? Or the achievement they've had is because of consistent academic lobbying, pushing of the ideology, which we do not agree. But it's not enough to not agree. What are you pushing to counteract that, especially in your own context? Even for your freedom of your people, how often do you push so that your people will have freedom? If you believe in the power of education and academics, and you are an academic, what are you doing for Biafra? The Professor Joania, once said something. She's a professor in a university. But for 2 weeks, what she said in condemnation of British monarchy, and in the light of their role in Biafra genocide, that resonated around the whole world for more than 2 weeks. That tells you the power of the position you have. Use that position in the academic, and she's academic. She's a professor. She's a lecturer. So it went viral. And you're doing your own research in medical engineering. Why not research about the role of medical engineering during the Biafran War? Why not research about the ingenuity of Biafrans during the war? Put it like that. You don't need to overtly make yourself IPOB, because as a researcher you stand outside and research. But claim who you are. Give that the importance it deserves. Because for 3 years, Biafra held the whole of Nigeria and their allies, Western powers. They could not suppress Biafra. There was blockade, but Biafra manufactured their own plane. Biafra manufactured their own boat. Biafra manufactured their own ammunition. Biafra manufactured cars, refined gas and petrol. This one, people are putting in campaign, oh, we will refine petrol, we do this. We've done that in Biafra. We had our own court system. We built this, we have engineers. We still have more, a lot of them. We are a blessed people. Why not do your research in a retrospective manner? You say, oh, let's look at what happened during the Biafra, the impact, the ingenuity of Biafrans. The very first time we constructed aeroplane, 50 years ago, more than 50 years ago, this happened. If a Biafran mind could think out to construct aeroplane, construct their own car, construct their own ammunition, refine gas, oil that they use during Biafra. What is it that we cannot do when we have our own freedom? But that is why you should research about that. If you're into marketing and all that, why not make your case study about main market, about Owete, Enugu, about Ariara, about Iowa. Research about the speciality of your people, the ingenuity, the giftedness, the talentedness, the skills of Biafrans. So that's my challenge to you today. Instead of making Nigeria a case study, it does not exist. Tell the world that you come from a place called Biafra. Tell the world that a genocide happened before. Today, we all recognize the genocide of the Jewish genocide. You think the West just woke up and call it Jewish genocide, recognize the genocide? Also, Armenian genocide has been recognized. You think it happened like that? No. I recently searched how many publications have called Biafra a genocide. You won't be surprised my finding. And we have Biafrans today. Our fathers told us what they passed through. Our mothers told us what we passed through. How often you a writer? Why not write about Biafra genocide? Even the name you call it genocide, making argument for a genocidal case for recognition of your peoples being killed, millions as a genocide. For that is what it is. No other part of Nigeria, we had people dying in millions, not even in hundreds. No other part of Nigeria, there was starvation. No other part of Nigeria where the people, including kids and women with pregnancy, heavy pregnancies, were hunted down and macheted, killed like animals. No other part than in Biafra land. So why can't you see the significance of writing about your people, of focusing your study on the reality of your people? It can be about experience that was so disastrous and destructive as the Biafra genocide. It can also be about praising your people, identifying those things that make us unique, that make us strength. It could also be, if you're doing political science, find out what was the political ideology that led our people, that empowered our people to fight that war. What was the political? That's why you're a political scientist. Research about the political philosophy of our people. One of them is Iyke. How did we use Iyke or Ecology to motivate our people and say the world is abandoning us, but we do it ourselves? And then all these things happen. They say it's a Biafra miracle, but it is Akamere. Our people did it. And I will stop here and invite my colleagues. I will invite Mazi Silas to please take the mic and continue.
Thank you very much, Mazi Iyke. Thank you for that passionate speech, very in-depth and really hitting the nails at the head. We should open our mouth, as you said. We should open our mouth and our mind and our riches and mention Biafra in whatever we do. That is our nation. That is equally who we are and also our religion. Thank you very much. And I will thank our anchor, Mazi Peter, for giving us this opportunity I will also extend the existing preambles and protocols by saluting our dear IPOB leaders and members for their loyalty, leadership, strength, and steadfastness in the face of all these challenges and confusions and confusionists happening everywhere. I thank our audience dearly for their support and faith in our vision. The conviction we have in this struggle and the sheer strength of IPOB members and their loyalty energizes us and keeps us inspired to continue this movement and struggle. So we thank you very dearly. And going forward, last week we compared the Nigeria's celebration of independence with that of US and similar countries. And during that analysis, we factually concluded that Nigeria got a fake independence, something that would rather be called a new colonial transition. And that is where we are still today. In that analysis, using USA as an example, a country that got real independence from Britain. You know, USA is bloodly related to Britain. So USA is not a member of Commonwealth League of Nations, despite that blood relationship with Britain. And they separated from UK or Britain, as you call it, completely. They are not member of the Commonwealth League. And that is part of what you see and say, okay, this is independence. You get out completely and you do your own thing. Now compare USA, not minding other factors. Compare USA and Nigeria. We have a large population. They have a large population. We are endowed with even some mineral resources that USA do not have. We do have it. But due to the differences in value and the way Nigeria was badly coupled together, only for the interests of Britain, for effective domination of Nigeria, for the continued colonization of Nigeria. That is why Nigeria is still where it is. If you get 2 or 3 opposing people in a place and ask them to build something, they will first of all have to get through their differences. If those differences are irreconcilable, they will not get through it. And if they can't get through it, they can't agree. If they cannot agree, they cannot build. This is why in every company you go to, if you're starting a new job, they will ask you a question on your ability to work as a team. If that question is not answered satisfactorily, you do not get in, because you have to be a team to be stable in the planning process of any organization or any teamwork. If you can then work as a team, then you can make decisions jointly that can be trusted, respected, and carried out. You see why Nigeria needs to be decoupled. You see why Nigeria needs to get away. We need to get away from the mess they call Nigeria. It is not a country. So Britain effectively and intentionally coupled Nigeria together so that it doesn't move. They know in their literature, in their publications, they know that there are major fundamental differences between the regions that they put together. And these differences will not allow them to move. And if you look further, you can use examples like Iraq. Iraq had a dictator, but the place was put have been put together or forged together to have some semblance of stability, some growth, some understanding amongst the units, some teamwork happening. And because of that teamwork, they could reason together. They could decide who comes into their country and what sort of business you want to do. If you want the nation's oil or whatever, they tell you how much you're going to buy it by a comparative analysis, by asking your counterparts or those who want that oil also, how much would you pay? If you want to do a business in their land, you you will be expected to provide your quote, how much and how you want to do that business. And they will compare that business with other places and then tell you how they want you to operate. Because of the understanding in countries like Iraq and Libya and similar places, those countries were able to be stable. In Libya, for instance, before Gaddafi was overthrown and killed, Libya was underlined as the nation that has the best living standard. Even though you look at the press and all that, they demeaned the Gaddafi regime, they demeaned the people. But you finished uni, you got a job. You didn't get a job, you got housing, top class housing that everybody acknowledged as one of the best. The living standard was good. So, and once you have that independence and you're not depending on them, they will come down hard and heavy on you. And it is becoming clearer to the whole world um, why that is happening. So, back on that Commonwealth League of Nations, which is the British forum for continuing having access to the countries they colonized for their commercial gains. And occasionally they will use those nations as their allies when they want to achieve some other gains somewhere else. This happens in when they want to go to or counter Russia's influence or any other person's influence. They go to United Nations and they want to cast a vote. First of all, they make phone calls to their Commonwealth League of Nations and say, oh, you must vote left or right as we wanted you to, or as we want you to. And they will go and make those congregation, or they will go and make those alignment and come out and vote. Another way of looking at it, Australia, Canada, USA, Britain, and those their allies, they always vote in one direction. Who is the Australians? The British came and took over Australia. Same in Canada, same in USA, same in so many places. So when they are casting a vote in the United Nations and they're voting one side, the same people, they came to Australia and took over the land from the Aboriginals. What happened to the Aboriginals is there for everybody to see and hear. So when they start imposing a new king all of a sudden, or before the queen is finally laid to rest, a new king is there. And all these nations are saying, yes, yes, our king, our new king. Their media is chorusing the same thing. The same people. Open your eyes. And this is why the Biafran case is still hard for them to swallow. Wherever you go, the same people that um, demonized Biafrans, the same people that fought against Biafra, the same people that are milking our natural resources for their continued existence are there, and they are out of their guilt and greed, do not want to mention Biafra. And that is why what Ekene said makes a lot of sense and stands as the correct procedure we must all adopt now. Wherever you are, whatever you do, whatever opportunity you have, you must mention Biafra to their face. Let that guilt overwhelm them. Let that guilt push them across to the side of decency and say that it's never too late to right the wrong. In this case, they will say their fathers did, or their grandfathers did, or their great grandfathers did. We, if you are intelligent, if you have learned, and if you have been awarded a degree that you know to at least say the right thing, and you're not saying it out of fear of being unpopular, then you haven't grown, you're still a child. I can also add that you don't know what you said that you know, because if you know what you know, you will make use of it to free yourself at least. Charity starts from home. A home, in a home, that charity starts from yourself. You have to help yourself first before you can help others. If you are researching to help the world, that's what it is. That's what the research do wherever. That is the essence of the research in the units, to help the world. Because at the end of the day, whatever you found through your research will add to the body of knowledge. Whatever your answers are from your research, you will add it to the body of knowledge. And if you are a Biafran and you are working to add to the body of knowledge, put Biafra there. Dr. Jania, in her comment that they think is not right, added to the body of knowledge of the world, to those who don't know, billionaires that are ignorant, that Biafra was killed. There was a genocide that happened in Biafra land because they raised their hand and ran to their own land for safety. Yet the Nigerian people drove down there with their armored cars and weapons supplied by Britain. This current Britain, not the one that existed, or not the one of 900 years ago, 500. This current Britain, they drove down there, supplied their arms like they're supplying in Ukraine, and finished Biafrans. We survived it by our ingenuity. We survived it by our strength. We survived it by our then collective teamwork. Can you imagine? Biafra prepared and built their own missiles. They even directed it. They directed our missiles to where it needs to land. That is how far we've gone. And that is what North Korea is testing today. How to do it. That is what the Americans are perfecting. That is what individuals like Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos are now doing, trying to send people to Mars and all that. We actually were at the start of it to track and direct our missiles. We did. So if a people with this sort of ingenuity is asking to have their nation, built, so we, the Biafrans, Biafran peoples and the Biafran nation are victims of the Nigerian experiment. And if, as long as Nigeria continues to exist, the impact of coupling us to, the country called Nigeria will continue to be there. We will continue to lose a lot of things, and the existence of Nigeria will eventually drown and devastate our people and our nation. And I can enumerate those through these following viewpoints. So if we have, what we are calling for is to have a Biafran nation, to separate from this Nigerian concoctment that looks like a nation is not a nation in any way, shape, or form. If we get out of Nigeria, we would have achieved our vision, and the following would happen. We will have this, we would determine for ourselves, which is normally called self-determination. We will determine for ourselves what values we have to keep. And let's take, for example, what Mazi Iyke said. The same-sex determination or same-sex issue. It is not in our nation. That does not happen. Let's say myself as a biochemist. Let's say there are hormonal imbalance and some sort of morphological changes that happens in somebody's body that makes them think to be with another sex. It doesn't exist in our land. I can also address that conclusively in a more longer session by saying what we eat, what we do in our land doesn't produce people who have such, call it hormonal imbalance or mental situation. So they never came out when I was growing up. So it doesn't exist in our place. So we would manage it better. I listened to an interview given to the newly elected Kenyan president, where they were asking him what he would do with the same-sex marriage or whatever. And he said they are going to manage it according to their culture and heritage. So self-determination as one of the things we are going to achieve if we are under our own nation, we would address those things according to our culture and the way we live. We will look at it with a fresh pair of eyes and have a look and see where we can help people who have imbalances and even mental issues that would, if it is linked. And we, for Christ's sake, we have been shy about this topic. We will control our God-given land. I'm no longer shy about it. We shouldn't be. Self-determination allows us to control our God-given land. We will look at the natural resources that we have and decide how we can extract them and who we are selling it to and who would buy it at what price. We will control it. Can you see all of a sudden the NNPC that have been sitting there for many years under the control of the presidency, all of a sudden they started finding illegal pipes. This is a group or a parastatal, a big, the most funded parastatal of Nigeria or department of Nigeria, sitting there for years, declaring no income from their department. Immediately after, will be mentioned that the people in government know about the oil theft. All of a sudden, they started finding illegal pipes, even ones that are yet to be found, are up in flames, as we see in the social media, to destroy evidence and cover up. All of a sudden, they now know that any ship that nears the Nigeria, the Biafran shore, the Bight of Biafra, they removed from the maps. All of a sudden, they realize that any ship that nears the Bight of Biafra will be detected many miles away before the ship arrives, and they will know whose ship it is. That the ship can be tracked to where it actually offloaded its product, and this has been happening for many years because those who own, those who reside in the Bight of Biafra have been subjugated, have been enslaved, have been sold, have been dehumanized for centuries. That is why it is happening. And who are those who started this dehumanization, this slavery? And at a point, they handed us over to a country they call Nigeria. It is the British. So sometimes we try not to, if you don't refer it to history, you can move forward. We up to now, we don't have a real security apparatus of our own. If we do, we can't be lying to ourselves, saying, "Oh, um, there is no theft," when there is theft. So the reason we want to get out is to actually have our culture and values maintained and practiced. These cultures and values actually decide how the future state will be. The future state of any nation, the future of any country actually is determined by the culture and the values we have. The culture of a man marrying a man, the culture of the natural marriage system that produces kids, the culture that the lady marries into a family and stays there, respected, the kids of those couple maintains the inheritance and grows from there. The organic setting of culture we have in the Biafran land and people that has given stability for thousands of years, that has even given the rise of the intelligence that maintained a very stable and healthy population before the advent of the white people. That culture, that value is what we want to maintain, and it has been threatened by the Nigerian system. We need to get out of Nigeria to restore and rescue what is left of those of our culture and also our religion. We have a way of worshiping our God. Our people are so individualistic that at the delivery of any child, the placenta is buried some particular place, and that child will be shown where the placenta was buried, and that child can make that place a religious place, and that child will grow knowing that this is where my placenta is buried. That child is connected to that land forever as long as the person lived. That child can have a particular plant placed there, watered, maintained, and the child goes there to pray. That is the origin of our individual religion. And that religion carries on, advises us to be fair and honest to our people and our nation and to ourselves. That religion that prays every time somebody walks into your house, You picked up a kola nut, a plant seed. You prayed over it. You shared it amongst yourself and wished for continued progress for everyone. That is a culture that you can't find anywhere. Maintaining it is sacrosanct. We have to. And that feeds into our language. Our language is not spoken as it should be. It has been predicted as a language that is on its way out. The only way we can restore it is to have our own nation where we can promote and use that language as official language, where we can increase funding for those who teach the language. That is what happens in so many advanced countries. If they need to produce more mechanics, more panel beaters, they fund the systems that produce people who have that trade. Our language needs to be front and center, used in signages that we have in our roads, business places, and all that. If you make it a rule, it will happen. And people will say, oh, instead of calling it school. And we can do it as it is in Nigeria. So in order to have our language reigning again, we have to have our country. Because of time, I will start, because to share the time with others, I will be a bit concise on other issues. Our education system should run in Igbo, should have an Igbo session of biology, Igbo session of physics, Igbo session of geography, and all that, so that the language is used more, so that more can be gotten in our language, and then the language becomes even more relevant. We can only do this in the Biafran nation. Same as our health, there are some local herbs indigenous to our land that we have used for thousands of years, used in curing or managing pain. Those we can research. Nobody knew it except us. It's only in our own nation that we will say, who is good in this? Come out. We can then evaluate it with what is orthodox and fine-tune them. There are people who still have some of them. A lot of them have gone. Again, in commerce, our people are one of the best in commerce. One of the best, world-renowned. The system of serving a master and getting settled by your master have been seen, researched by Harvard University and some other intellectuals, and they see it as the largest, they called it a name, the largest, what do you call it, a system of incubating people to take over in commerce in the world. So, as Ekene pointed out, such research should mention Biafra. This is who we are. It is coming from us. In commerce, go to everywhere around the world. The Biafrans will pick up commodity that others might have seen as rubbish, and they will go in there and grab what is still effective in it and use it, and kind of update it and use it or send it anywhere around the country, and it will still be important for us to have our nation. There are a lot of things we can use with items that we have imported that will be recycled to give the world some other products. So in commerce, if we have our nation, we will make Biafra the commerce hub of the world. It is possible. And in creating content, content in arts, content in literature, and in science and all that, we need to be doing it, mentioning Biafran name and creating it in our own design, so that at the end of the day, that would be part of the knowledge that people would need to see. And again, if we create contents of ours, when somebody is trying to prepare a presentation or do whatever, you want to use your own content to portray your points. It is very, very important. And lastly, I will look at security. If we have our own nation, we will support and build a security system that will protect our lives, not other people's lives, our lives and our properties. At the moment, ESN is the only one we have, is the only indigenous security network we have in our land. And you can see how they've worked. They are particularly targeting the foreigners that are coming to desecrate our land, the foreigners that come and do stuff that is against the way we live. And they're not interested in wasting blood on our land, as Mazi have rightly addressed and pointed. So our effort, our actions are aimed towards separating from Nigeria, having a Biafra that looks after our people, and having such a standpoint, we can then address all other issues. What they're doing in Nigeria now is a game that they are repeating, and which will not yield any different result, because they're doing the same thing that they have done. If you do not purge Nigeria of the fakeness, the struggle between teams that do not agree, that are not the same, you will have a country that is thinking and sinking fast to the bottom of a deep sea. Thank you very much, and I will yield to my other colleagues. Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you, Mazi. That's wonderful. That's brilliant. We have to return to our education system. That's why when we talk about Biafra, people think we're talking about political inclusion, better political representation. So they talk about voting and all that. They get carried away by that deception. When you have Biafra, we can structure our life, put it together based on our own ideology, and everything will fall back together. Thank you, Mazi. I would like to invite Mazi Iyke. Mazi Iyke, Chukwugasima, please take the microphone.
Thank you, Mazi. Thank you, Mazi Iyke. Thank you, Mazi Silas also. You guys have really taken the bull by the horn, and you've made it so clear for our people to understand the vision, the blueprint of Biafra. We are not just fighting for this to have a country called Biafra. No, that is not what we are doing. We are actually trying to restore a place. That is why our leader will say that Biafra is the kingdom of heaven on earth. the kingdom of heaven on earth, because we are seeking for a nation where the lives of the people will be impacted both spiritually, and we have to discard the fake religiosity in our people and bring back spirituality, our ability to communicate with our nature and with our creator, which has been the way of the old, the 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 difference of the great African minds and the people of this generation. Our forefathers communicated with their creator. They had that communication, they had that open channel where they can speak. The spirituality was heightened to the state that they could feel and know that they are in connection with their maker. Um, in Biafra land, all of these things are what we are trying to bring back the sanity, the sanctity of the land back in the days. We know that our people respected the land. They respected the land, the sanctity of the land, that you do not do evil, because if you do, the nature will surely catch up with you and punish you for your wrongdoings. And the the great thing about our lives is that if we look back to our course of development as a society, we will see that we have actually plunged backwards. We haven't grown. In the years past, if you have pictures of 50, 60 years ago in Biafra land, you would notice that the people then had a culture, they had substance, they had originality, they had things that were made. I remember as a child looking at pictures and seeing their quete. I remember looking at the pictures and seeing the oja, the our traditional homemade produced home equipment, the utensils, everything were made by our people, the Okwanka. But in today's generation, no person can literally boast of having those skills. So we have fallen backwards in our development as a people. Why is China where they are today? Because they've continued making progress in their development, in their cultural development, that they could not just service the needs of the Chinese populace, but the population of the whole world. That is growth. Growth comes from the inside to the outside. It doesn't come from outside to the inside. Growth comes from you growing yourself as a person, and that changes what you give out to people who are around you. This is why people go to school, to learn, to develop their personality, their intuition, their initiative, and then to impact their society by um, delivering what they've learned over the years. And in Biafra land, we have lost that, and this is what we are trying to bring back. That is why so many people do not understand us when we talk about religion. We talk about this because we've lost the track. We are no longer selling what is organic to us, what has been of our own making. We are now selling imported ideas, ideas that has been imported and sold to us over the years. Now the question remains, the person selling an item to you, are they selling it to you for your own good or for their own good? If someone is doing a business, are they giving you products to benefit you or to benefit their business? Now, if you answer that question, you would come to realize that the life you live today is not beneficial to you, but to the person who you are purchasing those goods from. We've bought religion from the from the, let me say, from the Europeans, and today we are pushing it, giving our all into it. We our commerce, we are no longer giving what we have. We are rather buying from outside and enriching these people. That is why today we have the problems that we have in our society, because you import things in that society and the people who control you are happy about it because they make money out of it. They control you. They control your goods. They control how you sell it. They control how you receive it. They control how you ferry it across the country. And they control the money with which you buy it. And in your mind, you think you are growing. No, you are growing your enemy. I want to tell us something about Biafran struggle. The Biafran struggle that we are engaged in today, there is no stopping. It is like a tug of war. If you stop pulling from your side of the rope, then you are pulling for the enemy. It is a constant effort. It doesn't matter how the momentum you give in a tug of war, but you must keep pulling, because once you stop pulling, you are helping your opponent to win over you. So in this struggle, if you think you can just wait on the side and wait for people to do it, you are actually working against the restoration of Biafra. That is why all hands must be on deck. You cannot say, oh, it's only for IPOB family members. No. You cannot say, oh, I'm not uh, uh, I'm not in Biafra land. I have escaped that. I'm living well here in the Western world. It is no longer my problem. You are missing the mark. You are actually working against us. Couple of weeks ago, we can remember the force we applied on the Professor Onyeka in UK that wanted to invite the uh, Supreme Court administrator, and we stopped it. if we for one point stopped pulling those cords and gave in, he would travel to the UK and make a mess of Biafrans. He will come back and kill more. Other governors will follow suit. But now, we've served that notice and people are aware of it. It doesn't matter if you're an IPOB family member, it doesn't matter. But once you are a Biafran, you must do something. That is why we are lifting this clarion call and calling people of great intellect, people in high places. We have people. That is why I cry every day. I think about the restoration of Biafra. We have people. There is no university in the world that do not have up to 10 Biafrans in it. There is no hospital in the world. I'm not saying any country in the world. If you go into that hospital, you must see a Biafran in that hospital. If you go into any university, you must see lecturers that are of Biafran creed. These are people who has suffered the menace, the subjugation, the heartache. They are direct victims of the Nigerian state. They are directly getting mauled. Their families are suffering in penury because of the Nigerian state. But what do? They sit in their offices and do nothing. There is no financial institution anywhere in the world that you go in today that you do not see a Biafran working there. There is no government in the world today, in Canada, in all of the states of Europe, here in America, in UK, in all nations of the world, you have a Biafran. There is no football club in the world that do not have a Biafran playing for them in their ranks. But what are these people doing? They are resting on their oars, hoping for ESN to keep their mothers, their fathers, their cousins, their sisters safe from being overrun by these Fulani marauders, by being hacked to death. And yet they do nothing. They turn a blind eye to the pain and the suffering of their people. I want to tell you today that you are not pulling this cord. We are in this fight together. And if you are not pulling your side of the cord, you are actually fighting against your people. And believe you me, there is a repercussion for it. When you sit on the fence and watch your kin killed, getting mauled, getting destroyed, it will directly come back to you. My colleagues, my comrades, they've said things about reflecting who you are in every work you do. This is the way to go. 10 years ago, if you say about Biafra, no one knows about it. But today, say Biafra, every person would say, oh, ndị otu Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Oh, Biafrans. Why am I saying this? When we were kids, we would go to the market to sell our wares. When you carry your wares to sell, the first thing your mother will tell you is, be telling people what you are selling. Keep selling it. Keep telling people what you are selling. They are buying, they are not buying. Be selling it. If you're selling bread, keep saying, gonna bread, buy bread. If you're selling pepper, keep saying, gonna pepper, buy pepper. Ose, oyibo, ose Igbo. If you're selling soap, keep saying, buy soap. Gonu ncha nkọta, gonu nke a, gonu nke ọzọ. If you're selling vegetable, keep saying it. Why are you saying it? For you to market what you have, for you to call the attention of people, for you to remind people. Most people, they've planned for the day, oh, I will buy pepper today. But they've forgotten. But when you keep saying it, it will come to their hearing and they'll go, oh, I'm buying pepper today. This is someone selling pepper. Come over. Let me buy from you. You're saving me time and energy of going around trying to go buy it. Other people might have forgotten that they are supposed to buy pepper for that day. And they will recollect from hearing you saying it. And they will do something. Other ones is for you to tell them that this is available for you to buy. Even if you don't need it today, you might need it tomorrow. So you can as well buy it right now. That is why you keep saying that. And also, you that is saying it, you don't feel awkward anymore because it gives you in the vibe of the business you are doing. This is the same thing we are saying. If you are a Biafran and you don't tell people, I am a Biafran, you don't do things that show you are a Biafran, you don't do things to remind people that I am a Biafran and this is who I am, you lose focus, you lose steam, and then no one knows about your existence. And then what happens? You continue in your misery. Now, if the boy who's selling pepper for that day keeps his mouth shut, walks around the whole marketplace without saying a word, no one buys that pepper for that day. He's going to be dejected. He's going to go back to his mother or father or whoever that told him to go sell pepper. and he is going to be angry with himself. He's going to be dejected. If he needed to make sales in order to buy food for that day, he is still going to go hungry. He will not get solution to his problem. But if he keeps saying it and people buy, he gets happy that he's making sales, he can afford money to buy food for the day, and then he goes back to his parents and they are all happy together. And he's learning. That is why we need to keep saying it. I tell you, we have wristbands, we have t-shirts, we have things that we wear, and people look at us every time and they go, "Where are you from?" And you point to your t-shirt. Biafra, how do you spell it? Look at the t-shirt. This is the spelling. Oh, Biafra. Oh, Biafra. They ask you questions and you answer, and that increases your wealth of knowledge on who you are. And people know where you are coming from. They see you the next day, they are telling you, "Oh, I saw your brother." "Who is my brother?" "Oh, I didn't talk to him, but he had a sticker of Biafra on his car." They already know who you are. If you go and you do a symposium or you present paper on Biafra, the problems of Biafra, we have poets, we have musicians all over the world. You need to fight from your front. From your front. Any place you are. Ndị be anyị sị na ebe onye chere ilu bụ ilu ọlụ ya. You need to work from that angle. We are tired of having people, and it feels like we don't have people. The population of Biafra in diaspora alone, only in diaspora, is more than many countries of the world. I can beat my chest and say that we have more than 25 million Biafrans in diaspora. Australia is a continent and as well a country. The population of Australia is meager 25 million, including the Biafrans that are living here. We have countries in Europe who are just 5 million people. 5 million is just the number of Onitsha. I'm not saying Anambra State, I'm saying Onitsha. 5 million. That is the number of people living in Onitsha alone. And we cannot make a difference. And we cannot say a word and it will be heard. If we stand up in one voice and echo the words of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, the whole world we go deaf from the thunderous voice that they will hear, from the thunderous sound they will hear re-echoing and reverberating from our noise. We have the population, but we have people who are dead in their minds. Your people are dying. You couldn't buy a house in your home country. You had no job. You believed in religion and you escaped, came to Western world, and you are still preaching to people that same thing that did not save you, that could not save your people back home. People that are trying to get saved here, you are still feeding them the rubbish. Our people are dead in their mind. We need to wake up. We need to resurrect our ability to think, to analyze issues, to look back to who we were and who we've become. Ecclesiastes, the Songs of Solomon, says the words of Lemuel that was taught him by his mother. He said, I have seen slaves riding on horsebacks, and I've seen kings walking on barefoot. Kings walking on barefoot, and slaves riding on horseback. If you look at those words, picture it in your mind, you will see your situation. You will see your situation. This theory has been there, it's been postulated all over the world, that the people who control you today are people who had no place. The Mongoloids, they are people from the wilderness. The Caucasians, they had no place that was good, and they sought to look for places. They lived in caves. They started looking for lands that were habitable. Looking for tropics, for good temperature, so they could survive. But today, they control you. They control everything you do. And you, who were created, given a good land, today, you cannot even enjoy the freedom of your land. I have seen slaves riding on horsebacks, and kings walking barefoot. It is left for you to change, but we, as the IPOB family members, we are employing all of you to use your pedestal, your platform to sensitize people, to champion the cause for the liberation of your people, because it is what is right. And no one regrets doing what's right. At the end of the day, you will beat your chest and say, I did right. I did good. Let us always remember the words of Mordecai to Esther. He said, do not be afraid. Maybe it is for this purpose that God has given you the crown of this kingdom to be queen, O Esther. But know ye that if you should not use your position to save your people, he will raise another. So my words to any person who has a platform, who has a following, who has opportunity and power of influence, and you refuse to fight and liberate your people, you will be removed from that position. You will be shamefully removed from that power, from that influence you have. Because we cannot keep fighting to help your people. We cannot keep fighting to free ourselves and our people from this problem, from this situation, from this debilitating situation we found ourselves, and you are feasting. No, it is not right. We all must join the struggle in the restoration of Biafra. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu cannot be sleeping in cold room. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu cannot be deprived of medication and you are feasting and you think everything is okay. No, that is unacceptable. We cannot be spending sleepless nights working on nation building and you are having a fun time without thinking. That is unacceptable. We must sell our identity. We must sell our product, which is Biafra, no matter how. Thank you, Mazi. Thank you for the opportunity. I'll yield for now.
There, Mazi. Thank you so much for a wonderful contribution. I would like to invite, looking at the time, I would like to invite Mazi Iyke to please make his contribution. Mazi Iyke, please. Yeah. Hello? Oh, I don't think he's available. Okay, I would like to thank all of us. Mazi Iyke that just made the last contribution. Thank all of us for a wonderful contribution tonight. These are definitely ideas that need further exploration because they're quite important. The ideas we've reflected on tonight are very important to the struggle. It's an important, a significant dimension which can really, feel like, shoot the whole idea, the whole campaign further into the onto the international space. I'd like to thank our host tonight, Mazi Iyke, and thank all of you, cherished listeners. Join us next week, Wednesday, and we'll be with you. Thank you, Mazi, for hosting us.
All right, thank you very much. Welcome to the program anytime. From this is Radio Biafra USA 2. We are still, we have a minutes. Our time is gone, far gone anyway. So, if listeners out there, if there's anyone who wants to say anything, you can come in and say whatever you want to say. Let me open up the lines for you at 646-920-4541, 845-344-7984, 929-406-9953. You can call us at those numbers, and if there's anything that you actually think you want to say, please do so. If you don't have anything to say, stay put, don't say anything. Because if you've been listening to a wonderful program by the Australians, you will really, I know if you were paying attention, you will definitely have something to say, because they've done very well. They've given us things to think about. We are Biafrans. The only thing I have to add to it is that we have to remain resolute no matter what they do, no matter how much they try to distract us. We know what we want, and what we want, we're going to, more truths are going to be coming out, as they are running their mouths, trying to become president of a dead nation. It's funny. It is funny that people at this time, and those of us, I think, that have really advanced in age, we know that there's nothing that they're saying now that we've not heard before. Everybody's coming with an idea. The same people that have been holding us down, that have been holding our ancestors. They killed our children, murdered our mothers, our fathers, our brothers, our cousins and sisters, family, in the millions. Today they are out again. Their head is shining. They are lifting their head, and they think that we've forgotten. No, we don't forget at all. I have a call. Let me take this briefly. Caller on Principal Officer's line. Good morning. Tell us your name and where you're calling from. Caller on Principal Officer's line. The line is open for you. Why don't you talk?
Are you hearing me?
I can hear you loud and clear, sir. Good morning. Welcome to the program.
Good morning, brother. My name is Fisan Chukwuma Dabuchi, and I'm calling from the Kingdom of the Netherlands. Guys, thank you very much. I listened to the whole presentation of our brothers from Australia, and I want to tell us that our customs must not die. Our values must not die. Mazi, my brother, the day you treated, there's some things you treated about, burial of our people. I tried to come in, but the volume of the call was too much. Okay. Because when I was growing up, there were no mortuaries everywhere. Our people say, when somebody dies, Our people will bury him. Maybe he dies to them tomorrow. They bury him to avoid the decomposition. They bury him where the family wants him to be buried, and they say they haven't scheduled the funeral ceremony. They keep him there, and they put palm frond. They put palm frond at the gate at the entrance. That is once you see that palm frond at the gate, you know, oh, if you want to go for condolence, oh, they haven't started the condolences, so you go back because nobody may be at home. They may be going on their own businesses and all because they haven't scheduled the funeral. They are waiting to do it, but the person has been laid to rest. So I have some people saying, "Oh, in the social media, one of our man went to ask people about the tradition of burial. Oh, some people are saying, "Oh, it is our custom, to keep in the mortuary until the family is ready."
Okay.
What the hell is that? Is it now our custom to put people in the mortuary? The ground where the person is laid to rest is our mortuary until the family is ready for burial ceremonies. We give him his burial rights or her, but he's laid to rest. Our people don't know what happens to a corpse that is being kept in the mortuary. They demonize these people. They disembowel them. They stuff them with some things. Some people don't know how they tamper with the body. And for some of us who believe in reincarnation, you don't want to dismember people like that because of our core belief and we think you are doing any good. If you want to celebrate his life, you can still do it while he is intact, resting. And there's no gain saying there are stories abound that some people that were put in mortuary, they were so angry that everybody in the mortuary was thrown outside by the force of this man, by his spirit. Because he said, "What am I doing here?" He wants to be laid to rest in his father's compound. He is not asking for too much. He is the first son of his father, and his father is dead. He wants to be laid to rest in his father's compound. He said when they go and say, "What is doing this?" He said to them, "Why did he put me here? I want to go home. I want to be laid to rest." Somebody will die in Lagos. They carry him and come in Asaba and put him in mortuary, pending the day of burial before they can take him home to Iboland or wherever the person comes from. This is not our value. Let's not ask Allah for putting people, unless if it is a case that is in court, then it is arguably so. But if there's no case that is holding the person, our people, let's go back to our custom and tradition of burying the person. If he dies in the morning, by the evening he'll be laid to rest. If he dies in the evening, in the morning of midday, the following day, he's laid to rest. Please, let's not confuse ourselves by saying that building mortuary everywhere like it's a supermarket. I don't understand it. My brother, please, I know you don't have time. Yes. Can I make some
Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you, my brother. The IPOB in the Netherlands, we are calling all Biafrans, all RBL family members, and all lovers of freedom to come and join us on this coming Saturday. That is the 15th of October, coming Saturday, for ESN support program. That is ESN fundraising. The time will be 3 p.m. Central European Time. That is 3 p.m. in the afternoon. The venue is Charity House by Madref 1239. That is the address. By Madref 1239. Postcode is 1103 Tango X-ray Amsterdam. The postcode is 1103 TX Amsterdam. You can call for support or direction plus 31 687 902 075. The next number is plus 31-644-849-174. If you are coming with public transport, please descend at Ganzenhof metro station and bus stop. That is Ganzenhof metro station and bus stop. You are very close to our venue. Give us a call. Please, my people, come en masse to support ESN. That is the least we can do from abroad. God bless Biafra and God bless you while you come. Thank you, my good friend, my brother. Have a great day.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Thank you so much. All right, this is Radio Biafra USA 2. My brother just made a point about burial. I'm telling you honestly, people die and they leave them up there. I don't know what they're leaving them for. Dust to dust. That's what we are told. And I really don't know why you want to leave the body there, up there. You can still do the ceremony after you've buried. So we have to think and act properly.
Look at them. Anyị onwe anyị bụ ọha ndị IPOB ma ụwa dum gburugburu bụ the indigenous people of Biafra IPOB n'okpuru onye ndu anyị bụ Mazi Nnamdi Kanu dị nsọ ji oge a na-afọ opi ike a ka ndị dị ndụ ndị nwụrụ anwụ na ndị ntị ike nụ ya na anyị onwe anyị bụ ndị nwe ala Biafra gbaa gburugburu na-ekwu ya ugbu a na-ekwusi ike na anyị agaghị anabatakwa kpọmkwem ime unyi n'ihu itepọtị ndị ekperimọlụ mmebi iwu na ọchịcha mere ha evuru oke ha na-ete anyị site n'iji ESN IPOB na aha dị asọ nke Mazi Nnamdi Kanu na-eji egwu ndị anyị chandum n'ụzọ dị iche iche ịnụ ụtụ dị iche iche ịtọrọ mmadụ ịzụ ụgbọala iji ntụmaka na-ere mmadụ aka point and kill n'ala Biafra mbanụnụ nke mere emekpuru ekete ọzọ emekwala IPOB ESN Mazi Nnamdi Kanu dị nsọ bụ aha nwere agba eji aga mba a na-enye oche pụrụ iche abụghị ihe ndị na-amaghị nke ha riri ọkụkọ amaọcha ha na-adịghị mma ga-emebi na-etekwa unye n'ihu ma na-erikwa ndị anyị mugu n'ụzọ dị iche iche ka m jụọ n'ụlọ onye gbachara apriko gbaa igbe ụzọ zụtara eji eli nna ya ọkwa onwe na-anaki kwụ ụgwọ mọchụarị ya ebe o werekwara aka ya gwuo ala ili ya Chineke menụ n'ụlọ ebere ya mere papa mama broda anti ọnkụ onye ọbụla ghe dụọ nwanyị ọdụ n'ihi na ọkụkọ ntị ike ga-agbakwa egwu ike ọ gakwa n'ihe n'ofe ebe ukwu na-aga njem ọjọọ agadịghị alọta anyị onwe anyị bụ IPOB anyị na-ajụ ugbu ajigbu na-eri n'ihi na ọ bụ ekpegbuo nwa nwaala apụrụ ya gafe ama nna ya IPOB anyị anaghị ekwukwa n'efu ọ bụghị anyị na-emechi emechi ndị ọzọ a na-emebi emebi na-emekasị ihe anyị gbakwana nkịtị nwanne ya bụrụ na nsogbu ga-adị n'ihi na anyị gba nkịtị arụ abụrụzi omenala kama jishi nkụ agwụnụ ebe anwụ m taa gada ịhụ anwụ mgbuo dọrọ aka na ntị onye kpatara nkụ ahụhụ ngwere gada ịbịara ya ọrụ ma ịnụghị dum nwanne ị ga na ịnụ yọm anyị ga-amara ji n'ala n'ụlọ na nke na-ala n'ọtịrị n'ihi na mpekelechi na-emebi ike kama mpekelechi ga-emebikwa n'anya ike a na-egbupụ ike ịnụnụ onye na-asọghị chi dị m n'ike taa marụ nwanne m ga na-etanye n'isi agaghị m asụ ụbụrụ anyị ekwesịgokwa ọ bụ ndị IPOB otu ezi buru nnukwu ibu n'okpuru onye ndu bụ Mazi Nnamdi Kanu dị nsọ wetara unu ozi ya
All right, with that, I will bring this program to an end today. Don't forget that next Wednesday, the Australians will be back again. They're here every Wednesday for you to listen to them. Fortunately, our time is up and we cannot take any more calls at this time. But please stay tuned because Mazi Iyke is next. Radio Biafra is up 247. So stay tuned. Don't go away. I still have to remind you that Biafra is our religion.
In Biafra lies our religion. The
Biafra remains our religion, no matter what they do. And, here on Radio Biafra.